Welcome to Richer Within with me, Catherine. Activate your inner wealth of wisdom. What if the answers you seek are already inside you? On this podcast, I, along with Dr. Pat, explore what it means to truly rely on your inner guidance, moving beyond the noise of external influences to reconnect with your unique magnificence. Each episode offers compelling real-life stories and practical tools to help you shift from overwhelm to clarity. Discover how to activate your inner wealth of wisdom, your wow, and harness the universal creative process to shape a life even beyond your imagination. Ready to embrace liberating responsibility for your life, own your worth, and trust your inner guidance? Then you're in the right place at the right time. Let's dive in. Your transformation starts now.
Wow. I want to tell everybody right now, this right here, this episode, I just want to get everybody a little bit, let's wake up. Let's have a moment. No, I'm not asking you to breathe. We're not doing breathing right now. You're going to have to breathe after it's over, because when Catherine Richer brings something to the table, and the show is Richer Within for a reason, but today's episode is freedom from the inside out. What does that mean? From the inside out. And it's about how do we stop replaying regret and reclaim peace. Now, let's just talk about what some of the famous words are that we play out. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. What? Shoulda, woulda, coulda. Now, even though you don't say them, you saying them, shoulda, woulda, coulda. Like, go back to the 5th grade when what? You cheated on that little 5th grade exam. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. Oh my God, you're still carrying that? What are you, like 80 years old? You see, these are the things that get embedded. They are available like that famous Schwarzenegger show called Total Recall, because they get popped up. Now, here's what I want to say to my fellow athletes out there. You know, after that ball is thrown, that ball that could have given you the Super Bowl or the World Series or whatever the sport is, and you overthrew your top receiver, how many decades are you going to think about that? Or if you're awake enough, you will hear that a foul was called and you get to do it over. Now, when you get to do it over, folks, let me ask you this. And doing it over means moving ahead in your life. See, every minute of every day, believe it or not, we get to restart every minute of every day. We get to restart. We just don't know it. Why don't we know it? Because we're hanging on to the shoulda, woulda, coulda. Now, put yourself in the place of somebody that has a minute to make a conscious effort to decide, am I going to be thinking about that overthrown pass that I just did? Am I going to be thinking about that time that I could have really hung the laundry up properly? Am I going to think about the time where maybe I should have spent an extra half hour? Are you going to do that? Because if you do that, you're chewing up minutes of your life that you're not going to get them back. But today in this episode, get ready, because this is about reclaiming peace. And we invite you to stop doing the shoulda, woulda, coulda. Catherine, what a great episode, because, I mean, there's so much of this that goes on. And, you know, I don't know if we say it out loud, but you don't need to say it out loud to be doing it, do we?
No, we think it and it becomes. And that moment that you're talking about, that choice point, is where the potential for freedom lies, because we can hang on to that and then that guides whatever comes next, or we can release it and allow what is greater than we had even imagined. And so this is really moving beyond a independence, if you will, to an inner dependence where we depend upon ourselves for that sense of freedom. It is not inhibited by outer circumstances or people. And if we notice that it is, then that's where we can stop and make a choice Am I repeating something as if it was going to change the outcome? Am I stuck in this replay, right? I call it a freeze frame, where we go over and over and over the situation as if doing that was going to change it. And we are stuck. And when we take a moment to recognize that, then we have the opportunity to free ourselves from the captivity of our own mind, which impacts everything that we do and everything around us in any given moment.
Here's a trick for a lot of folks. See, you and I, we're probably referencing things that we do, we're aware of. But you know what we keep replaying? We keep replaying things that we were not accountable to do. Like my ex, right, whatever that, my boss, we keep replaying what they coulda, shoulda, woulda.
Mm.
So we're not just carrying the burden of our own second guessing ourselves and trying to play, what is that famous? Linda plays a Sudoku game. I don't even know how anybody does it. You see, we're trying to adjust something that's not adjustable,
Mm-hmm.
right? So let's talk about some of this, right? So whether it's somebody else's situation, and oh my gosh, what's the word? Obsess on other situations. Now, we're not even talking much about that today, but we're talking about the situations we create that
Mm-hmm.
we just consume us. I mean, have you ever done that? I'm not saying you do, but have you ever really missed something you really wanted there, Catherine? Maybe.
Oh, yes. And one really big one that comes to mind first is actually on the weekend of July the 4th. I have a very close friend who lives at the Oregon coast, and her husband, her soulmate, beloved husband of 30 years, made a transition in
Mm,
October and of last year. And he was a friend of mine, of course, as well. And so as the 4th of July weekend was approaching, I was thinking, this might be a really rough one for my friend because last year they served as Grand Marshal in the town that they lived in together, in the car with all of the Grand Marshal and waving at everybody along the way. And so I reached out and asked if it was all right if I came out for the weekend. And so I did. And we were having a lovely time. And that evening we were in the living room, we were chatting and sharing. And anybody who knows me knows that I am an Aurora chaser. To the extent that I have an app on my phone that monitors conditions. And then when it looks like there's a possibility of the northern lights, the aurora, I get an alert. And it bypasses all of my notifications off and all that even, because I set it that way. So I'm talking with her and my alert goes off. And I was not expecting that at all. I had no idea that this solar storm was coming in with a solar wind, perfect conditions, because it's right at sunset, which is the perfect time. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, there's an aurora. Is it okay if I go down to the beach? And she's like, of course. I get down to the beach and it's completely cloudy. There's one little strip of bluish sky. And I'm like, no, no, this can't be. So I was wishing it away, and checking all of my Facebook posts of other people of what they're seeing, which was for me like self-torturous thing to do, right? Look at what everybody else is seeing, and I'm here and I can't see it. And I'm cursing the clouds, and then I realize, you know what? This is not happening for me. So I went to the house and went to bed. And the next morning, Dr. Pat, I woke up and I was still in the freeze frame. I was still in that woulda, if I would have stayed home this weekend, if I, doing the shooting on myself. And that loop that continued to play. I couldn't change, obviously. So I was frozen in that. And when I sat down in meditation, I recognized oh, wow, I am in a freeze frame. Is this really how I want to be? Is this really how I want to show up for my friend who is having a very sad day or could have a very sad day? And the most important question was, what's the most important thing here? The most important thing is to be fully present for my friend. There's only going to be one anniversary of the 4th of July. You know, holidays are the hardest for those who have lost loved ones. And so, and I have 30 years left to experience Aurora. So what if I can be happy for everybody who got to see it? Because I've seen them before. I can be happy for everybody who saw them. And what if I can trust that more good is revealing than I had imagined? That's one of my affirmations every single day. More good is revealing than I had
Yeah.
imagined. And so that reframe from the freeze frame released me from my inner prison of my own inner contraction, my all of that was keeping me very small. It freed me to be present. And the amazing thing happened is that I ended up actually being in the parade with my friend.
Wow.
I had supported a local effort for a number of years there, and that organization was in the parade. And so we were there together, and it was the sweetest, sweetest feeling. Everyone was so happy and so cheerful, and I couldn't have imagined a more brilliant outcome than that. And so, it's not about pretending everything is okay, right? It's not bypassing. It's really just making a conscious choice to shift, to change my mindset around that. It's again, I couldn't change it. And I have that access to the choice. And to me, this is the inner dependence. And this is, to me, really true freedom from the inside out.
Yeah. You know what I love about that story that a lot of people may not pick up? See, we think as we are the supreme victims of our own life, like we are like the supremacy of it. We are it. There's nobody more victimized than me in the moment. And it could be any moment. It doesn't have to be, I lost my job 4 times. It doesn't have to be that. But what you just pointed out is what the message really is for people. We have been given this beautiful power from the divine, from whatever you want to call it. I don't care if you call it the moon, but you've been given a just an innate power to shift on a dime, to take a thought, to take a meaning, to take an emotion and shift on a dime. And that's what we're talking about, because that's the work you do. You are in that space where we are able to help people step away from themselves long enough to find an alternative. Now, if you are a race car driver, you don't have time to sit through and get a spiritual mind treatment or anything. You're a race car driver and you inked before you should have inked. You have a nanosecond, if that, to adjust that wheel. And you do. And somehow we think that because we can do that, Catherine, we cannot do it in our mind. So walk us through this freedom we get and how powerful that shifting is.
The power in the shifting is really reclaiming our own power, because it isn't dependent on that circumstance changing or that person changing, that situation changing. And so rather than being a victim, oh, I missed it. Oh, I made a mistake. Oh, I messed up. Oh, that person did. It's wait a minute. Right here and right now, I have a choice to reframe it. And therein lies my freedom to continue in a more positive manner, to continue into the infinite possibilities. Instead of being on the home couch crying because I missed the aurora, right? I'm in the parade. What,
Wow.
right? What brilliant things can happen when we do that?
I didn't know
My
that.
own, pardon me?
I didn't know you didn't know you were going to be in a parade.
I had
Oh,
no idea. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Uh, So there's that more good than we had imagined when we free ourselves from our own inner captivity, right? When we allow that which is blocking our own sense of peace. Anytime we are imprisoned or captivated by something like this and in a freeze frame, we really small ourselves. And we're really living in the very small ego self, the protective self. We don't need to be hard on ourselves about it. We can have that compassionate look and say, I understand that you missed it. And that's okay. Because guess what? There's so many things in life, and there's so many great things, and so many beautiful opportunities in life. And so, there's a lot of different forms of captivity in the world. There's actually physical, there's relational, there's systemic captivity, and I don't want to minimize any of that. And in my own life, I was held captive uh, and uh, and assaulted. And it's amazing because that was actually the most liberating thing that happened to me. And do you know why? Because I didn't get stuck in it. I framed it when I realized I was not loving myself fiercely enough. And I gained that over time, regained that sense of worthiness and self-love and building up my inner knowing of my inner strength and my inner power. And so I was able to free myself from my own false beliefs about myself that led me to that.
mm,
And so it's not saying that what he did was okay or acceptable
no.
at all. At all. It just means that there is something that I could do to free myself so that I live more
Yeah.
fully and I live from that sense of power and knowing that I am more powerful than I could even imagine.
Yeah.
And so this is really an example of the inner places, Dr. Pat, and everyone listening, where we are stuck in a captivity of our upbringing, right? The early childhood programming that we got from our family, well intended, from our friends, well intended, from society, from culture, from expectations. That's where this inner places where we can find ourselves stuck. It's also our fears and our beliefs. These things can lead us into situations where we
Hmm.
have this self-limitation, this captivation that leaves our imagination out because we're captive
Hmm.
to those. So it really is breaking free.
You know, I, I remember being on a panel once, like when I was going to school there, and everyone's talking. And I explained this. I said, this is called the prison of yourself. So big psychology person says, no, it's not. It's called the prison of self. I said, no, it's called the prison of yourself. I said, what do you mean by self? What's self? That's like not even a thing. It's either myself, yourself, but there's no such thing as self. And I went on to say, in psychology, sometimes we get confused because we say the big S, the little s, the big I. I said, come on, man. Like today, what we're talking about is what is inside you. I want to make one comment that's very important. And you have said it before. I've heard this term bypass. Now,
Mm,
we are not talking about that.
no.
We are not talking about that. You have every right to be in the moment of grief. And I got
Mhm.
to tell you, I watched the Dalai Lama be in a moment of grief for less than a minute at a meeting when one of his top people walked in, whispered something in his ear. He put his head down and picked it back up. And later on, we found out that that was about he lost his best friend who was just executed. A
Mhm.
moment. But
Yeah.
when he put his head down, you could feel. So we're not telling people to stuff it, shove it, sit on it. You have to confront it, but not for a decade. Just saying.
Yes.
Please don't
Well,
call me and talked about. Don't call me no more. I know you guys, but since I'm back on the East Coast, you're calling to me about that one Philadelphia Eagles game that somebody did something to somebody. I don't even remember the game.
mm-hmm,
But you
mm-hmm.
understand what I'm saying. What do you make of that? We stay in things way too long.
We do. And I thank you for saying that because really the emotions are our compass. They are our inner knowing that something isn't in alignment with the truth of who we are. And so when we actually allow ourselves to feel it, to grieve it, to cry, to, do whatever we scream into pillows, do whatever we need to do, because then there's a somatic release as well. And, it can be a waving in between, allowing those emotions to go. Because, when we really sit with them, they don't last that long, right?
They don't.
They don't. That's what we learn in, meditation practice, or even just sitting down. Okay, I'm feeling this anxiety is present. Sit with it, and you will find within about 45 seconds, it unravels itself. And so then we are able to move into the choice points, right? We are able to look at, okay, what has my attention? And is this leading me toward peace or away from it? Towards freedom, towards joy, towards ease, towards whatever that is. And then reframe it with a simple affirmation, okay, I see you, I hear you,
Mhm.
I acknowledge you, and right now I am moving forward in the knowing that I can create anything that I feel called to create.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, thank you for taking this topic on because we are doing this at a pace now that people don't realize. And people say to me, how you know that? Like, how many billions of people have you surveyed? I said, you don't have to survey them. You just have to look at the numbers, the number of people now that are more stressed than they've ever been, the number of people that are blah, blah, blah. Like, you don't have to really have a degree in anything. If you just look at some of the things that people are saying is going on in their lives, right? I'm sorry to say this, but it is happening and it's so prevalent, you understand, that it's starting to it's magnifying itself in things in our pop culture that we watch, right? We're starting to see people break down. We're starting to see anger in sports. I got to tell you,
Mm.
anger in women's sports that I swear to you know who up there, what the heck is going on? And I'm not one that believes it's always, shall I say, okay, I'm going to get a million letters on this. It's always mental. You see, there's a spiritual gap. We have lent our soul out to somebody else for a minute.
For a minute. And that minute compounds, like you say, the less that we
Yeah,
recognize it and make
yeah,
choices in any
yeah.
given moment to not do a road rage,
Now,
to not do an unnecessary comment, to not do things like this, right? And so the
I
anxiety
know.
piece is just so important. And that's why I really, really
Mm,
encourage people to regulate your nervous systems as much as you can.
mhm.
Practice breath work, do meditation. Simply remember to breathe deeply as often to reset that so that we're not in fight or flight, right? We're in the parasympathetic, like a parachute, gently, gently alighting onto the grounding of the earth, right? So, yes, very, very important. And then when we are in that space, that actually really helps to create the space for a new way of being and
Yeah.
responding. That moment between something happening and a response, that's where everything is possible.
Now you're going to help us walk through this, but you should know one thing about a parachute, if I might say, because I like skydiving person. Did you know that when you jump with a parachute out of whatever you're jumping out, do you know that there is a significantly jolting impact the minute that you open that chute?
Mm.
And then there's peace like you've never felt before. Now bring us through something peaceful and help us out for this today.
I'd be delighted to. Thank you. Thank you. And so, for all of you listening, if you are in a space where you are able to sit down, close your eyes, if you're listening, not able to do this, you can still listen. Receive a nice breath, receive a breath, and remember the breath is always, always with us. It is that which gives us life. And it is this gift from the life force and the source of life itself in which we live and move and have our being. For there is nothing separate from it. All of that presence, all of the energy that simply changes form, that is always here. The power is always here, just like the power that bursts open the suns and creates new universes from their insides out. It is that infinite intelligence that sets everything in perfect orbit. This is who and whose we are. We are emanations of this and representations of it. We are embodiments. We are stars wrapped in skin. And so I just speak this word for and about everyone within the sound of my voice. And I call forth that sense of inner freedom, that sense of knowing that from any point they have the power and the presence to make a new choice in order to create more good in their lives than they had even imagined. Every given moment where they have a signal of something maybe a little bit off, they have a choice to reframe it and to claim it as something good. I choose joy. I choose peace. I choose harmony. I choose a knowing that I am worthy beyond measure. And we are, for this is our spiritual birthright. This joy in this life and this love. And I'm so grateful to know that this is true. And in that gratitude, I simply let this be, aligned with all of the beauty and the love, aligned with all of the infinite possibilities and that unconditional love that always says yes. We allow it to be and we welcome it to be so in our lives and in the lives of everyone. And so it is. So it is.
Thank you so much for that. Please tell people how they can find out more about you, how they can work with you so that they can truly move beyond the shoulda, woulda, coulda.
I'm at richardwithin.com. I'm also on Instagram. And yes, come and find me. Come and find me. Let's work together. Let's be together in this transformative time.
All right.
Namaste.
Namaste to everybody. And for those of you out there, I know, shoulda, woulda, coulda, just pick one. Work on one at a time. Okay? We'll make it easy for you. We'll see you next time.
Thank you for investing in yourself by listening to Richer Within with me, Catherine, and Dr. Pat. Continue this journey with us every third Monday at 11 a.m. Pacific on Transformation Talk Radio. Feeling inspired? Visit richerwithin.com to explore one-on-one sessions, speaking engagements, and supportive services with me. Together, let's co-create a world that uplifts everyone through deeper living and conscious presence. Until next time, and always, align with your inner wealth of wisdom. Wow.